Howdy folks, and welcome back to another exciting episode. I'm Dylan McCool, and today we're going to be working on my 1974 F100. Now this thing's been sitting for a very long time, and in the very last episode we got this truck to run even after it was completely submerged underwater. But we don't have brakes and we don't have steering. I want to try and fix that today because I want to go off-roading. Look at this truck. It was designed to hit some trails, and that's exactly what we intend to do today. So stick around to the end of the video and see if we can have some fun taking this old rig off-road for the first time in decades. That's right folks, today this old rig is going back to where it belongs, off-road. And recently we got it to run after a hard-fought battle with rusty engine internals, a bad starter, and a carburetor that Adam and Eve used to cruise around the garden with. It's a 1974 with a later model front clip, but it's got a 360 under the hood and a stout 4-speed to back it. Think it'll survive? Gosh, I sure hope so. It fit on the lift somehow. I don't know how, but it did. Tires are hanging off on all sides, but we're on here, and this thing still runs great, surprisingly. But what I want to do is lift it up and see what we can find out underneath to make this at least a little bit better of a driver. Mainly to have brakes, have steering, the capabilities and functionalities of an actual car. So we're going to lift it up, and I hope it's not more than 9,000 pounds, but I think our Wildfire lift is capable of that. We're going to get underneath the truck here and just kind of see what we've got going on for brakes. I know that they are none at all. So we've got some new brake parts, we've got some components, and just kind of see how things look underneath because, you know, the rest of the truck is really rough. I'm hoping that, you know, maybe some of it's nice, but, you know, hopes are limited. We'll just put it that way. Folks, here we are, and it's a little bit worse off than I had anticipated. Up front, we do have brake lines still intact. We have brake hoses. Everything is there. You can't see the back side of the wheel cylinder, though, because of how much dirt is packed up in there. So if we do want to change those, we're going to have to dig that out. The power steering is leaking pretty bad, and I mean very bad, but it's enough to maybe hold so we can use it. We do not have a front drive shaft, and the hubs will not lock, so that's also a good thing. This yoke is broken. As you can see here, it looks like it's chipped off at some point. I'm going to guess that these giant tires had something to do with that, but listen to this. That joint is gone, absolutely gone. But all the brakes up front are still here. As we move back though, we've got some problems. Now you can see here, I've already disconnected the coupler right here with this brake line because all of this was cut loose. This is what I've removed. Look at this. Looks like they had a leak somewhere. This brake line broke in half, so it had rusted through at some point. And here's the other half. So we had two halves that got broken. So they bent it up to, I guess, cut it off so, you know, no fluid would come to the rear. And then right here, they actually cut the hose and just left it dangling. So we've got two halves of this brake hose. But luckily we have this. We have this brake hose. If we want to make this work to the rears, we're going to have to replace this line from up here to this brake hose all the way up to this coupler, which is not a hard thing to do. I just have to go get some brake line to make it happen. And then in the very back, we do have this brake hose going to this line over here. It doesn't look good, but it at least goes over here. But if we go back to the other side, this brake line has been broken off or cut for some reason, so there's no brakes going to this side whatsoever. We're gonna have to make a new line going here and then connecting the brake hose back to the main supply line. But if we can do those two things, replace wheel cylinders, all the hydraulic hoses and all that good stuff, and we can at least try to get some kind of brakes. Then of course up top we'll do the master cylinder. But I mean, it is bad, but it's something that we can at least fix. I started off by removing the left rear brake line since it had been cut. My goal was to replace as many lines as needed, but attempt to get by with what was operational. Normally, I would use a tubing bender for those crispy angles, but I really don't care on this truck. A quick bend by hand will do the job, and then I marked where I needed to cut with a Sharpie. Don't mind Dixie here, she's just on patrol around the shop, she's on security. When it comes to making brake line flares, you really need to start with a clean edge. This tool is awesome for cutting all sizes of tubing and making flaring anything super simple. Once we have our finished brake line, we can throw it on our flaring tool. Do not forget your fittings. I've left them off so many times I had to start over completely. If you flare a ton of fuel or brake lines, you really need this flaring tool. It makes the job extremely simple and can do all sorts of flares and sizes. We're doing a double flare, so we set it square with our clamps and tighten down a line. Then the first flare, and the second flare. Simple as that. With our new line in, we can make our final adjustments and tighten everything up. While I was here, I replaced this main brake line that was probably repaired at some point. That union and original line though, probably going to give us some trouble down the road. I had new wheel cylinders for the rear, but the fronts were on order and taking forever to arrive. I dug out the front to see the damage, and to my surprise, the front driver wheel cylinder was nowhere to be found. Not only that, but the brake line had been cut and clamped off. Did this truck have a single good brake? After digging out the front passenger wheel cylinder, I found it was the only one that had potential to function. If my front wheel cylinders don't show up in time, I think we can try and make this work. You gonna cooperate with me? Okay, so it's not bad. It's a lot better than I was expecting. Usually I was, based on the rest of this truck, thought all this would be gone, but we're gonna change out that wheel cylinder only. I mean, the shoes still look pretty good. The drums, they're rusty. The thing is, this truck's gonna need a lot more than just brakes to actually be safe to hit the road. So we're gonna do what we need to make it where it can stop. Because it's like a 6,000 pound bulldozer, and if I can't stop it, it's not safe. So we can just wipe a lot of this stuff out of here. Got a bunch of cobwebs. She's been sitting for a long time. Everything looks clean though. I mean, we don't have a busted wheel cylinder, but it's probably been dry for a long, long time. And it's been underwater too. Look at that sediment. That's good for your brakes. This wheel cylinder is like Indiana Jones level rescue here. We've got some nastiness built up, so I highly doubt this thing has worked. Probably in, this century, or maybe even last century. What we have here, brand new wheel cylinders. So we're gonna pop these back in, and normally what I would do is rebuild all the brakes, but on this truck, since there's so much more that it needs to actually be a usable truck, we're just gonna pop these back in. Because the shoes look good, the drums need resurfacing, but this will do the trick at least to get it to where it moves and hopefully stops itself. There we go, wheel cylinder is back in, all the hardware is back in place. Look what I noticed right when I was about to be finished. This is a bolt and a nut holding in this side of the shoe. It's supposed to be like a flat pin that goes through this washer. You push it through, twist it, and that locks it in. And it looks like they had a field repair over here because we've got a washer and a bolt that goes through the back side and then this nut holding it on. I mean, I don't think it's gonna come apart because it's glued in there with rust and mud. If it hasn't come apart already, I don't think it will. So, or at least I hope it doesn't. Next on the list, these original drums are a little bit worse for wear, so we're gonna resurface them real quick. Look at there, good as new. Let's see what's behind door number 2. Here's to hoping this side looks the same. Well, the drums are loose. Come on now. Ooh. Oh. Ow. Man, it's like 3 hours. Man, this thing was big time underwater. Had to cut the pins here on both sides and grind them flat so I could actually just remove the whole thing because it wouldn't flex enough. I mean, it's pretty worn right here. So we'll clean it up the best we can, get that wheel cylinder out of there, but you can just see all the surface rust is rough. Now, I'll tell you what, it's not that easy trying to do brakes when you got a dog standing between your legs the whole time. I love her though. Everything's good. We've got new pins here. The wheel cylinder is in place. The shoes and the drum are terrible. I don't know if I've seen grooves this bad before, especially for the shoes to actually have this much material left. It might be hard to see, but there are literal grooves cut into the shoe itself. I mean, it's like an ocean in here. And then inside the drum, there's a groove that goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then there's a hook. A really, really sharp hook. That's why it was so hard to get the dang thing off earlier. It's bad. I mean, this is probably one of the worst shoes I've ever seen. For it to still be holding on, that's not gonna matter. We would replace this normally, but with this truck, we're just gonna put it back together. Now, since we're still waiting on some wheel cylinders, we're gonna go ahead and jump to the last step of our journey, and that's this master cylinder. Now, this thing is bad. It's pretty crusty. I'm gonna hope that these pliers can take off these brake lines, and let's just see if we can crack something loose. I've been soaking these in PB Blaster pretty much every time I walk by the truck. I'll spray them down. The last thing I want to do is have to change brake lines up top. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that, that wasn't bad. A little dirty, a little dusty. There's pressure built up. Wow, there's actually fluid coming out. A lot of times what happens is that you'll get one broken loose, but the line will start rotating and flexing, so you gotta be very careful with these old brake lines. So we're gonna take our time with this one, spray a little bit more of this PB Blaster on here, and make sure we don't have to replace lines going wherever the heck they go down in the depths of Ford land. See if we can get number 2. Oh yeah. Same story though, they're just not wanting to cooperate as far as rotating. So again, we'll spray both of these down and make sure we don't round anything off. Here we go, it's working its way loose. Uh-oh, never mind, it just split open. Dang it. Woo, this truck is flopping. Still got the back end jacked up. Where'd you go? Oh man, this is the last thing I want to do is be fiddling with brake lines. Well, it looks like we're good on the line back here, the ones for the front. So I'm going to go ahead and just unbolt this one completely, and then we'll just have to start fresh with making this new brake line. It always happens when you don't want it to happen. So I guess that means I should have wanted it to happen for it to not. It's too confusing for me. My goal here is to eliminate as much damage as possible. So I'm not even gonna mess with trying to undo this line or do anything like that. So what I've done is attach my flare tool to the old master cylinder using this vise, and then I have all this leverage here that I can use to actually flare it. So everything's clamped down. I've got a new fitting here. So let's see if this thing will work and we can actually do this without pulling the entire brake line. This master cylinder's cast iron, so hopefully it doesn't break. Oh yeah, that was better. Now number 2. You don't have to put as much force on number 2. All right, let's see how it came out. Oh heck yeah, that worked good. Look at there. Nice. good flare. We didn't have to remove the line. I like that. And there it is, folks, with a brand new fitting. So we'll fix our coil here, and then our fitting will work just like that. Look at that. Nice. Easy peasy. Now the hard part, getting it to come loose from the firewall. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that was brutal. One more. Oh, there we go. That's what we like. Get out of here. Out with the old, in with the new. Folks, we have run into nothing but problems. Now, I tried to bleed the brakes after the master cylinder went in. That didn't happen. The brake line that goes right here to the rear, I think starts up at the proportioning valve, goes all the way to the back. It was stopped up, so I replaced it right to where our new line was that we replaced earlier. Then I get to the rear axle, and our line that we replaced earlier was working, but this one was snapped. So there was a hole in it. Wouldn't bleed that right rear. So I reused my old fittings, and I stripped it right there. Rounded it off, ruined my brake hose, and now I can't get that fitting, and I can't get a brake hose until tomorrow. But I don't have a lot of time. Tomorrow's gonna have bad weather. So what we did was something really dumb. I took a brake hose from the front, ran it into my wheel cylinder, and connected it to my main supply line. So we should have only one wheel stopping. I think we've got a front right, but I know for a fact this one will work. We're gonna move this line and kind of zip tie it up out of the way. I'm just gonna tell you right now, don't do this. We're gonna fix this whenever we get a new brake hose, but this is just temporary so I can at least try to go wheeling real quick. Now that we have brakes, I backed it off of the lift and it worked. It actually stopped itself. So I relocated our gas jug over here, tied it with a bungee cord so it's away from any hot exhaust. But whenever I backed it off, I wanted to see if we could actually get some power steering. The pump is bone dry, so I filled it up. Except this happened. That power steering pump was not locked up before I put fluid in it. So let's loosen up the belt and just see exactly what's going on here. You know, Ford may not have had the best power steering pumps, but they do have some of the nicest adjusters. I mean, you just loosen up these bolts here on that slide, and then you just back it off. Or tighten it up, whichever way you gotta go. No prying, no none of that garbage. You just tighten it up and loosen it however you need it. So my thinking is the power steering pump locking up? Did something happen when I put fluid in it to cause this? I mean, obviously it wasn't squealing like this before, so let's just back her all the way out to the belt. Isn't even touching. Yeah, it's still spinning, but look at this play here. That's a lot of play in that bearing. What I'm guessing happened is that this thing was probably tightened up too much, because I was looking at the alignment and the power steering pump is kind of at an angle, so probably it got over tightened, and that caused the bearing inside to lock up whenever it's under like a pressure or a load of pumping fluid. So the bearing is getting seized up when that belt is actually trying to pull on it. So that's done for. That is a lot of bearing play right there. Dang. Well, I guess we're just going to take it off and replace it. Since we're just slapping this thing together, normally we could probably just get away with not even running power steering at all. This thing has such big tires in the front, it's undrivable. You cannot steer it without power steering. That's exactly what we have here. Got a brand new pump. I've already removed the pulley off the old pump and added it onto our new one. So it's a matter of just bolting it in and saying a prayer that it actually works. And gosh, hopefully it'll steer. Here we go. We're gonna see if we have brakes and some form of power steering. It fires up pretty good now. Brakes? Oh yeah, it's very wobbly. Oh, we have power steering. Look, it's turning. Good. That's all I need. Uh-oh, we're bleeding. There's just a line going all the way out the door. And where does it lead? To the truck. Right here to the power steering ram, I guess you would call it. I don't know what you would really necessarily name that. But that's what kind of pushes the steering back and forth, and it's leaking out of the seal. So we don't have a whole lot of time as far as like using the power steering. So we'll just take the gallon jug with us of the fluid and just fill it up as we go. But it backed out. The brakes worked enough to go. I think we have a front right and a rear left. And if I had that brake hose, I would fix it, but I don't have it right now. So we're just gonna try it. I'm gonna see if we can do a little off-roading with it. We got a trail that goes through the land here, and I guess we can just kind of figure out if we get crossed up or not. Radiator's bone dry, but I wanna see if I can fill it up with some water, because I'm just gonna assume that it's probably gonna just dump it all out. It'll be the first time we've actually got it up to operating temp too, so we'll see where it leaks and how it leaks. I'm not really saying a if, it's more of a when. Well, that's full. I don't see any leaks in the radiator though, that's good. Compressor on standby for when that tire eventually just fails. Let's fire up and let it run. Excuse me. Hello? Hello? I know you can idle. Don't act like you can't. There's a bug in the radiator. Get out while you still can, buddy. You can do it, my guy. Get out. Something. Well, I'm out of here. I don't know what that is. There you go. Do it. Go, buddy. Go. Oh, no. Uh-oh. This is where we're going to see some problems arise. I'm hoping that we don't, but, you know, if we have a water pump that works, if we have a radiator that works, if we actually have anything cooling-wise that works, we should be okay. At least I hope. You know, that's the main thing. As long as we get a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith, I think we can make it happen. It's idling now, though. It runs really well. I mean, once you keep fuel going to it, it's not that bad. And we got 2 gallons over on the inner fender, and it goes through it very, very quick. But it's still running. It's idling. We'll see if the thermostat opens up. If and when it does, we'll add a little bit more coolant to it and hope that we can actually stay running. I guess the radiator was just dry. The engine had some green coolant in it still, so that's good. Maybe it won't freeze. It doesn't have near as much blow-by as it did before. I mean, it was a cloud coming out of this thing. I'd say it's healing itself a little bit, getting those rings to reseal. It's getting better. Most of the smoke now is what oil was built up on the exhaust manifolds and the cylinder heads. All that's kind of burning up and going out. She's getting better. She's a little bit healthy now, somewhat. Getting a little coolant flow. I like what I see. So there's this trail that goes through the backside of my property, and I want to take it down through here. It's not a serious trail, but it's at least enough to maybe see if this thing still has what it takes to be a little bit of an off-road truck. And it's somewhere I've never driven before. I've walked it, so I don't know if this truck can even do that, if it's something that's even possible, but we're going to give it a try today. Oh, come on. You really gonna do this to me right at the entrance to the trail? Like, please? Why? getting flooded for some reason. Okay, starting fluid. It runs great, and then it just gets flooded. All of it. Fine, let's take a moment and take out this obstacle. Doesn't look too bad. We'll try it. It doesn't look that bad. The thing is that it's got this like ridge in it from where I guess like water's ran through here, and it just gets kind of weird because it's a lot of bumps and turns, and it doesn't really get good until you get up there. But we're gonna see if we can kind of wiggle our way up to this. So it's gonna be really good on these tires. I know that for a fact, these 50-year-old tires. Once we get past that, it's pretty much a straight shot, and you can kind of see the angle of it. I mean, it might get a little bit hairy here in a minute. Whoa, it's a little steep. You can't really tell it on camera. It's steeper than it looks. Oh gosh. See, I just fell. Oh. I don't really know how it is past this point as far as like staying on a trail. From what I understand though, this was like an old logging trail back in the day. And this is where they used to clear trees out. So we're gonna see if we can wiggle our way up into there, because it ends up in another field, like way past my property. So we'll see if we can get through there, turn around and come right back. See if I can get down here without tripping again. Oh. Yeah, this right here's, I mean, it's not like technical, but when you have a truck like this, everything's technical. This is where it's gonna get weird, just because of how goofy this truck is. It's really not built to ride trails, it's built to go get stuck in the mud. But hey, that doesn't matter to me. We'll just leave her in low gear. It doesn't have a front drive shaft, but hey, as long as we stay in low range, I think it'll be all right. Okay, battery's getting weak, and the alternator is not charging. So if we can at least get it to go, we'll stay going. Clear it out. Clear it out. Ow! Yeah! Whoa! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Oh yeah, she's tough! Woo! Rowdy! That's what we like, folks! That's what we like. It died under a tree, and a giant fireball just shot out of the carburetor. Is it on fire? We're not on fire, but it won't stay running. I don't see any flames. We just died under this tree limb. I was trying to take it slow so we get smacked in the head. That didn't do anything. It's the only way it'll start with such a weak battery. Come on, come on, come on. A little further. Oh gosh, come on. Dang it. That's it. Oh, the battery's dead. Oh gosh. Well, I gotta walk all the way back that way and get another battery for it. Dang. Okay. Here we go. Now I make the long walk back. which I guess it's a good thing because my camera batteries are dying. Everything's dying. The truck's dying. But I mean, I can't say that it's not the truck's fault. That's the good news about it. It's just a weak battery. Well, it's kind of half and half. I guess it's half the truck's fault because the alternator won't charge, but the other half is just a battery that can't do anything. So if it had a good battery, it'd stay running. Luckily, I'd actually started charging one right before we left. So I'll go back and grab it. I'll probably bring a support truck down here so I don't have any issues having to walk all this way. Okay, whew, I walked all the way back with a new battery. I took one out of my Challenger. It's a brand new Optima battery. So let's see if that'll do the trick. We're gonna keep going. I don't think we're done. We haven't even, I can still see the opening to the trail. We got a long way to go before we get there. There we go. That ought to last us a little while. Truck to off-road. I can tell we're running out of power steering fluid though. It's getting harder to steer, especially one-handed. And the trail's getting a little narrow up here. Oh God. Gotta mow some tree down. Mow this tree over here down. Oh yeah, like it's nothing. Oh, it's scary. That's so scary. Oh, steering. This is kind of peaceful. Not too bad out riding around in the woods in your big truck. That we can actually get through pretty simply. Ow. But I see some offshoots I kind of want to take. There's like one kind of right there. I'm about to start just mowing trees down and see if I can take one with me. I'm afraid I'll punch a hole in the radiator, but at this point it doesn't really even matter. Look, we have temperature. That's cool. You know, once we got it to run and got it to like calm down, it's not bad. It's really not that bad. Oh man, we got a tree right in front of us. Huh. Well, what do you say we make our own path? Shoot. Loading up. Oh, great. There we go. I gotta forge a path through here so I can get back to the main trail. There's gonna be some technical turns. not be in a bind, folks. Whew, I'm sweating. Dang, it's hot. We are deep out here in the woods. There's nothing. Nothing. So I kind of need to get a ride back. This truck is doing well. It's making it so far, but the power steering, it's bad. It was full for a second, and then as soon as I started really trying to wheel on it just then, it immediately just ran out. So you can see all the fluid. Uh-oh. Radiator's making some funny noises. I filled it up, and then it just immediately gushed all of it out within probably 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, you can see it's not dripping anymore, probably because it's empty. I filled it up till it was like actually coming out of the dipstick tube, and it ran out so fast. So that was some pretty hard wheeling right there. We can't do too much without fixing that power steering like it is, but hey, we're making it so far. I got to get out of here though. I'm gonna make a trail, and I think this is one. Like I said, there's like a bunch of logging trails that go through here. The one I'm on is a trail that goes way back up into there, and I don't know where it leads, and I'm scared I'll get too far out because I have no idea where it goes. That's one I've never been down, so I'm gonna stick to the one I know. And this one's a trail right here. You can kind of see where it's cleared out, so we need to kind of, you know, go this way we can and then cut back in. But I'm thinking, so this trail kind of winds around right here. If we can get through maybe here or over here, we just gotta avoid this big tree right here, but there's some pretty tall trees right here that I don't think I can push through. So I'm gonna come out and cut this way and then turn real hard left and then make it back to our main trail. It's not too far once we get off this. It's just a matter of turning this thing. It's just so hard without power steering. Oh boy, we are on borrowed time. We have a limited amount of power steering fluid. The battery is dying as we speak, and we probably have a half gallon of gas to get us out of here and get us back to the shop. And the sun's going down. What have I done? I'm not, ow, jerk. I'm not gonna get worried just yet. If we can't get out of here and the truck dies on us, I'll walk. I don't care. I don't wanna walk, but I will walk. Hook up our fuel pump. I'm surprised this wire hasn't come off yet. Pretty impressive. Good news, now it wants to die. So now we really gotta hustle. Oh, not now. There we go. Fire in the hole. Great. Great. We're in the woods. We are in the woods. Start, please. Ah! Start, please. Ah! Holy moly! Whoa! Forest fire. All right, I need you fire to get out, please. Please fire. I have a fire extinguisher, but I don't want to have to use it. It is getting worse by the second. Come on. Stay running. All right. Come on, baby. Get me home, please. Okay. Well, we got out of that little predicament, but almost at the expense of burning down all of the trees and wildlife. I do have a fire extinguisher because of stupid stuff like this is what I'm doing. So we're okay, but we're not out of the woods yet. I'm sorry, I apologize for that one. If you want to leave, I understand. That was a really bad joke. Also, these tires are so old, we're losing tread. I mean, that just came off in that turn right there. We got a little bit of a bind and it started to push the tires. So we're ripping it off. I mean, it's literally just falling apart as we go. So I don't want to leave this out here. We'll take it and throw it in the rest of the dumpster of this truck. All right. I get the game. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Works really well though. I think we're actually in low. I don't know if I was in low earlier or not, but it's in low. I mean, it's just crawling in first gear. I think we can get out of here pretty easily now. As long as the power steering holds up and it doesn't overheat, I reckon we're all right. But we don't have a lot of gas to work with, folks. Not at all. Ow. Hey, easy there. Dang trees are being bullies. Ow, 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 ow. I do gotta say, for as bad as this truck is, I really enjoy this. I haven't done a whole lot of off-roading on this channel, and it's something that I feel like I should do more, but it's something that's actually, you know, good. This truck though, with a little bit of work, or I should say a lot of work, could actually be a lot of fun. I mean, if you put all the brakes back and fixed everything upright, got a front drive shaft and fixed the U-joints and all that stuff, you could have a lot of fun in this truck. I mean, you really could. But right now, this is about all she can handle. It's just a little leisurely stroll through the woods, which I don't really know how leisurely this is, but I'm having, well, that's a tree. Ah. Yeah, I don't think we were ever in low range before. This is truly low, and it's crawling pretty good. I mean, if you could have like a mud pit or a really good steep angle, I feel like this thing could do pretty well, because this is about all she's got. I mean, we're on 38.5-inch tires and we're crawling. We're almost back to the beginning now, and this is like nerve-wracking going down because you got to slow down, and the brakes really aren't the best, but I'm hoping I can use most of the engine to kind of keep me from flying away. And the power steering is, you know, not there anymore. So I'm gonna fill it up one more time before we hit this, and then we'll just crawl our way through. Here's a tree that I almost caught on fire at. We died right here the first time. Now we're just gonna breeze on through. Oh, it just smacked me in the mouth. Here we go. Let's see what we can make happen. Hold on, I gotta get the juice. We're on quite an incline here. Yeah. Take her slow. Take her slow. We made it back out, but look at the trail. You can see the red just bleeding from this poor truck. This power steering fluid cannot stay in it no matter what you do. You have to rebuild that whole cylinder just to make it work. And I don't know if it's even worth doing it. I guess I would have to if I want to keep driving it like this. But we just leave a little trail wherever we go. So I'm going to quit while I'm ahead and go back to the shop. Let's get out of here. It's getting late. The sun is still, I mean, we probably got another 30 minutes, so I'm glad we got out when we did. But it was getting dark fast. Ease our way out of here. And it's already out of power steering fluid again. Now that we've come out alive, I want to see if I can just let out of the clutch and see how slow this thing will crawl. It's going downhill too, so it's not even fair. You just take yourself back up to the shop. I'll meet you up there in a minute, all right? See you, bud. Let's rev her up, boys. Woo-hoo-hoo! We made it up to the shop, and that could not have been planned more perfectly. We just ran out of gas as I pulled up here. You can hear it. She's empty. Well, the truck did it. We made it. That was a whole lot of effort to get into that, but it's here. Well, folks, I gotta say, this old rig has impressed me more than I thought it would, honestly. It handled all the stuff we threw at it, and I know we didn't really do any crazy trails, but it still handled it. It was just kind of a leisurely stroll through the woods, and this truck really wanted that and then some. So I think it could really do a lot more. You know, fixing the front end with the four-wheel drive, getting the brakes sorted out, and just getting it to where it can actually run better. This thing could be unstoppable. I mean, it was a whole lot of fun, and nothing really got in the way besides, you know, all the stuff that is preventable, like the power steering and the fuel system and the batteries. That stuff is fixable. And I really enjoy that this truck can handle all the stuff thrown at it with all these things holding it back. It still did it. So if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment letting me know what you thought about it. If you want to see more on this truck and what else we could do with it, let me know down there below. And if you don't care, go ahead and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss any more videos just like this one. And if you're interested in merches in the description down below, there's a link. Order your t-shirts, your stickers, because all that money that goes towards that goes directly back into putting this stuff on the road, or I guess you could say off the road. Guys, I really enjoyed this truck. I've had a lot of fun today. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around to the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.